Hello, welcome to Good Night Flagstaff. I'm Bryan Cooperrider, and I'm delighted to once again be reading for the Good Night Flagstaff program here on a stormy Flagstaff night. Thank you for tuning in to our community story time. You can find a new chapter from one of our favorite family-friendly books at 8 p.m. each weeknight on the Literacy Center's YouTube channel and on Crater Radio, a local online radio station. The previous chapter is replayed on Crater Radio each weeknight at about 7:45, just before the new chapter airs. You can also listen to all previous Goodnight Flagstaff recordings on YouTube. We are currently reading Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. If you'd like to check it out to read along with us at home, it's available in the Hoopla app with your Coconino County Library card, so check one out today. Please email us if you'd like to join our team of readers and connect with your community through stories. All ages are welcome. Our email is goodnightflagstaff@gmail.com. goodnightflagstaff@gmail.com. Last time we read together, Nizhoni, Mac, and Davery board the train to Gallup, New Mexico. Davery had been chased by the shape-shifting monsters, which wasn't very encouraging. But when Nizhoni tells them about the woman who helped her, they discover a poem on the back of an ad the woman gave to her. It looks like a riddle, a puzzle, to help them on their quest. Now they just have to figure out what it means. Chapter 15. Too Many Coats. Nizhoni, a voice calls from inside the house. Come inside. Time to wash up for dinner. I sit up in my train seat. Only I'm not in my train seat anymore. I'm in a sun-warmed pile of leaves, crisp and gilded in the yellow hues of fall. I'm surrounded by a pack of adorable black and brown puppies. I know this place. I'm at my Shimasani's house. Grandma's dog, Ladybird, had a litter, and her 3 fluffy babies are running around and crawling over my lap as I sit under a golden-leafed oak tree in the early afternoon light. I laugh as the one I named Bandit sticks a wet nose in my palm, and I scratch behind her floppy ear like she wants me to. The other 2 puppies bark and wrestle and crunch leaves under their oversized paws, all under Ladybird's watchful eye. Grandma says res dogs are special. She doesn't own them the way people in the city keep their pets. She and Lady Girl and the rest of the pack have a mutually beneficial agreement. Grandma feeds them, and they guard her house and the surrounding land. As long as both parties keep up their end of the bargain, the dogs will stick around. But Grandma told me they're free to leave if they find a better deal. I've seen her sneak gravy and meat scraps into their bowls. And there's fresh bedding in their doghouse under the back porch. So my guess is they're not leaving anytime soon. Nizhoni, Grandma says again, I need you inside, now. I guess I can never escape chores, I tell Bandit, who has now decided to chew on my fingers. I extricate my hand from the puppy's mouth and head inside. Mac, my dad, and my grandpa are all in the living room watching football. As I pass them, Mac lets out a dramatic groan. Looks like Colorado State is beating his New Mexico Lobos again. Grandma's sitting at the big table that takes up most of the kitchen, a pile of potatoes in a bowl in front of her. She's got her favorite apron on, the one that says, Kiss the Cook, which she picked up at the Gallup flea market because she thought it was funny. She looks up, her eyes narrowing in suspicion. What is it? I ask. You were outside without a coat? It's not that cold, I say, defensively. You're going to catch cold if you don't wear a coat. I'll wear it next time. She shakes her head. Your mother was the same way, never listening to me. I am not like her, I say sharply. I'll wear one next time. Grandma picks up on my attitude. You think you're so different, but you're not. I would never leave my family, I protest. I automatically reach for the turquoise pendant around my neck, but I can't touch it because now I'm wearing a puffy orange jacket zipped all the way to my chin. When did I put that on? Another shout from the living room, this one in triumph. The Lobos must have scored. I fan my face, feeling hot, because now I've got another coat on top of the orange jacket. This one is black and red, plaid. 2 coats, and I can barely move my arms. Plus, I'm starting to sweat. Grandma, I'm having some trouble here. Of course you are, because you're just like her. Your mother was so headstrong, never listened. I told her not to get married so young and have babies. Whoa, Grandma's never said that before, and for a minute I'm distracted from my coat dilemma. Really? But she loved your dad. Loved you and little Mac too, so she had to go. Grandma drops a freshly peeled potato in the bowl. Life has a way of messing up all your plans. she tells me. Your mom had plans too, and see how that worked out. It'll be the same for you, so you better wear a coat. I think I have enough, because now I'm wearing 3 coats. The last, a thick tan canvas Carhartt like my dad wears to chop wood. Sweat is dripping into my eyes, and I'm trying to unbutton or unzip all my coats to get to my pendant. But I have mittens on too, and I can't get a grip on anything. Help! I gasp. My grandma just keeps peeling her potatoes, looking serene. Listen to me, Nizhoni, she says. You can never have too many coats. Chapter 16. The sleeper won't awaken. Nizhoni, Max says, punching me in the shoulder. Wake up! I think there's something wrong with the train. I slowly come to, yawning and stretching and shivering from the cold. I rub my eyes and try to shake the fuzzy feeling from my head. That's right. We're on a train, running from a monster. I can't believe I even fell asleep at all. Then again, I've always been pretty good at sleeping through big events. Once I missed a tornado warning when we were visiting some relatives in Texas, and I've never quite made it to the ball drop on that New Year's Rockin' Eve special. Maybe my ancestral power isn't monster sensing at all, but snoozing, which would be just perfect. Mac gets water magic and spicy food eating, and I get the power to nap during a crisis. Nizhoni, Mac repeated. Did you hear me? Stop yelling. What is it? Something's wrong with the train. It's taking us up the side of a mountain. And I'm awake. I push myself up and look out the window. The otherwise normal Amtrak train is running steadily forward on the track, but in a totally not normal direction. Vertical. And it's not just any mountain. It's huge, with a snow-capped peak. In fact, it's starting to snow outside our window. Delicate white flakes falling softly around us to blanket the desert floor. No wonder I dreamed about coats. The rest of the dream I'm not so sure about, but it makes me miss my grandma and her dogs. We must have gotten on the wrong train, I say. We'll have to find the conductor and ask to switch at the next station. That might prove difficult, Davery says. He's sitting up, yawning and stretching, as if he, too, took a nap. And I notice Mac has sleep boogers in the corner of his eyes. We all must have fallen asleep. There's no one on this train but us. What? I twist around. Where's the confused middle-aged woman? And I distinctly remember Davery thumping someone in the head with his backpack as he pushed his way down the crowded aisle. But now all the seats are vacant. I turn to look the other way, toward the front of the train, completely empty, too. We're all alone. Do you think Mr. Charles and his monster crew did this? Mac whispers fearfully. I should think not, comes a grumbly and muffled voice. I did it. But no need to worry. We're headed in the right direction. I recognize it. Mr. Yazi? Relief bubbles up in my belly as the horned toad from my dream crawls out of my backpack and settles on the seat next to me. You have no idea how happy I am to see you. Yes, dear child, I am pleased to see you again, too. Again? Max says, mouth dropped open like a sea bass. Since when do you know a talking lizard, Nizhoni? Amazing, murmurs Davery. So you both can see him? I ask. And hear him, Davery says, nodding. If Mac and Davery can see Mr. Yazi, then he couldn't have only existed in my dream, if it was a dream at all. But Mac, can you pinch me? He leans over the seat and punches my arm. Ow! I said, pinch, not punch. But at least I'm sure that I'm not dreaming. I know this is going to sound weird, but Mr. Yazi used to be a stuffed animal. My stuffed animal, but he came alive because horned toads are natural helpers, and he knew I needed help. At your service, he croaks. Amazing, Davery says again. As for the talking, Mr. Yazi continues, all animals can talk. It's just that they speak a language most humans don't bother to learn. But we didn't learn it either, I say. Ah, but your ancestral powers have awakened. This gives you the ability to know all kinds of things that were perhaps once forgotten, including the language of animals. Now allow me to introduce myself, he says, turning to Mac. My name is Theodus Alvin Yazi. Nice to meet you, Mac says, extending his pinky politely. Mr. Yazi rests a claw briefly against his fingernail in a human-to-horned toad handshake. Davery also holds his pinky out for a shake. Ancestral powers, you say? I don't know about that in my case, but this isn't much stranger than anything else that's happened today. Now that introductions are out of the way, we must get down to business. What business is that? Mac asks. Sometimes my brother has the attention span of a gnat. Monster fighting. Congratulations, Nizhoni and Marcus. You are the descendants of Changing Woman and have been gifted the powers of her sons, the Hero Twins. Mr. Yazi lifts a small claw and throws a handful of what looks like gold confetti into the air. I watch the teeny bits of colored paper rain down on our train seats. Mr. Yazi pulls a tiny party horn from somewhere and blows it. It makes an unhappy sound. It's the best I could do on short notice, he explains. Whenever a new monster slayer and Born for Water are awakened, I usually try to splurge on a banner of streamers, a few party hats. Whoa, back up. A monster what? And a Born for who? Mac asks, flabbergasted. I get it, Davery says. Monster Slayer. He points at me. And Born for Water. He points at Mac. You're not quite twins, but you're pretty close. 10 months, Mac pronounces triumphantly. Maybe you should start from the beginning, Mr. Yazi, I say. The lizard clears his throat. It is said that long ago, Changing Woman created the first 4 Diné clans from her own skin. The Diné, that's us, Davery whispers to me. I know that, I snap. But she looked around and saw that there were many monsters who threatened her people. So Changing Woman gave birth to twin boys, Monster Slayer and Born for Water, to protect the Diné. The Diné, that's us, I whisper to Mac. He rolls his eyes. Enduring many trials and hardships, the Hero Twins did just that, Mr. Yazi continued. And ever since, whenever the world has been threatened by monsters, new heroes have arisen. Descendants who have inherited the twins' special powers as well as the responsibility to fight evil. And this time it's us? Mac asks excitedly. Mr. Yazi nods. Mac lets out a whoop. We're going to be superheroes! So it's true. Mac and I are related to the legendary Hero Twins. I give Mr. Yazi a smile, despite the fact that my insides are curling in worry. I've been waiting my whole life to be chosen for something, to stand out as someone special. But now that we're in this for real, with my father's life at stake, and my little brother facing physical danger, it isn't what I was expecting. Like the time Dad promised he would get mint chocolate chip ice cream on his way home from work, but the store was out of that flavor, so he came home with vanilla and some off-brand chocolate syrup instead. Still good, but not exactly great. Didn't you tell me before that the heroes who fight monsters, I shoot a look at Mac and choose my words carefully, sometimes fail? I ask Mr. Yazi. It's true that this is a very dangerous mission you two have been given, and there are no guarantees of success. But you must fight regardless. There is no other way. I'm still willing to fight, I assure Mr. Yazi, but I want Mac to know what he's getting into. I turn to him. This isn't a video game we're talking about, bro. The light of excitement in Mac's eyes has been replaced with a steeliness that surprises me. I know it's dangerous, see, he says, but when I used the water against Adrian and those other guys, it felt right, I prompt. Natural, offers Davery. It felt awesome, Mac finishes. I'm going to do more of that. I am in. Hero Twins power, he shouts, throwing his hands up. I grin, feeling better, like the cart lady's song said, I am not alone. I'm in too, says Davery. No, Davery, I say. You don't have to be involved in this. You've already done... He holds up a palm to stop me. Hey, I'm half Diné, aren't I? I care about our people's future. And if I remember correctly, that cart lady gave you 3 lunches, not just 2. So clearly, I'm supposed to be involved. As usual, my best friend makes a good argument, leaving me speechless. I give him a big smile of gratitude. Then I look to the horned toad, who is nodding in approval. Mr. Yazi, I remembered what you told me about asking Najise Adza for a map to the House of the Sun. Davery and I looked her up on the internet and found out she still lives at Spider Rock in Canyon de Chelly. So we bought train tickets to the closest town, Gallup, and I swear we got on the right train, but now... I gesture around helplessly. Very good initiative, Nizhoni, Mr. Yazi says. You're a natural at this, I see. Oh, that cheers me up even more, and Davery gives me an encouraging smile. I might be hero material yet. Mr. Yazi continues. I took the liberty of informing the D and Diné of our destination, and they redirected the train. No need to be alarmed. You can talk to the holy people? Davery asks. Of course, so can you. All three of us stare at him, mouths open. Mr. Yazzie smiles. Who do you think you're talking to at the train station? You mean the car lady, right? I thought so. That's how she knew our names. And how much I like Cheetos, Mac adds. And that I'm lactose intolerant, Davy remarks, holding up his grape soda pop can. The tricky part is that the holy people don't always answer, or at least not in ways that you might recognize, says Mr. Yazzie, but they are always there. Always there, just like the monsters. Can you tell us more about Mr. Charles? I ask. What kind of creature is he? And how can we defeat him? And what he might do to my dad, I think. But Max still doesn't know the whole truth, so I keep that part to myself. I believe Mr. Charles is related to a nasty kind of monster called a Bineya Agani. These are vicious bird creatures that the original monster slayer imprisoned at Sebitsa, the volcanic pillar now called Shiprock. Mr. Charles is a shapeshifter, so he can take on the form of these birds, or he can look human, as you have already seen. Does he have scales underneath his skin? Mac asks eagerly. Tentacles? All of those and more, should he wish it, Mr. Yazzie says somberly. He is very powerful and quite evil. He and his kind will not be happy until they have destroyed the land. He must be stopped. I'm the one who must stop him, I think, with a slightly terrified gulp. I'm up for the challenge and glad to have Mac and Davery and Mr. Yazzie to help me, but I'm still scared. As if sensing my worry, Davery pats me encouragingly on the shoulder. There's only 3 of them, says Mac. We can take 'em easy. It's only Charles and his 2 henchmen for now, Mr. Yazzie says, but if he isn't stopped, he will free his kin, and they will try to break out the other monsters that are imprisoned beneath the earth. Once they are released, I'm afraid it will be too late. Too late? I ask. Too late for what? To save the planet. They are devourers, you see. They will not stop until they have consumed every patch of ground and every drop of water and pulled the guts of Mother Earth from the inside for their own uses. Mac gnaws on the side of his thumb and says, That's bad. Understatement of the year. Plus, they eat people, Mr. Yazzie adds. Davery coughs. Did you say eat people? Yes, eat. He works his jaw like he's chewing something. You aren't familiar with the word? I know the word, Davery says. It just seems a bit excessive. Sounds right to me, I say, visions of eyeball hors d'oeuvres rolling around in my mind. A loud horn blows as the train crests the mountain. We've been climbing the whole time Mr. Yazzie has been talking, and now we're moving through puffy white clouds. The train slows to a gentle roll, and finally it stops, coming to rest in the middle of a meadow between several snowy mountain peaks. The ground is covered in a layer of fresh powder. Mist lingers, making everything look soft and inviting. It's beautiful here, I say. Don't be fooled, Mr. Yazzie warns us. Beautiful things can kill you just as quickly as ugly ones. You must be careful and trust no one. Thank you for tuning in. And join us next time for Chapter 17 of Race to the Sun. Good night, Flagstaff.